Well, hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos, and this is News at 10. Our headlines tonight. Well, relevant parties urge to expedite flood warning system development. Well, government looking into state and district level disaster management. In our News at 10 in full. In order to improve disaster management in the country, Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has instructed the relevant agencies to expedite the second phase development of the flood forecast and warning system by the Department of Irrigation and Drainage, or DID. Now, this will involve 38 main river basins in the country to enable a more accurate early flood forecast and warnings to be issued. Well, as for public announcements, the Premier said the best and faster methods to issue early warnings and directives, especially to residents in low-lying and flood-prone areas, should also be improved. He noted that, for example, it can be done using WhatsApp and push notification with the cooperation from the telecommunication companies. Well, he said the production of flood simulation visuals and infographics should also be given attention and circulated widely through the mass and social media. He said the involvement of civil society organizations in a coordinated matter will also smoothen the delivery of aid and assistance to the victims, besides empowering and creating a community resilient to disasters.
Bagi penyediaan makanan pada mangsa banjir pula, penggunaan teknologi retort ataupun makanan sedia dimakan, meals ready to eat, untuk diedarkan kepada mangsa banjir kerana kaedah pembungkusan tersebut lebih tahan lama dan kalis air.
Well, meanwhile, the Prime Minister said he had instructed NADMA to expedite the formulation of the Disaster Management Act. As a long-term measure, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri said disaster risk reduction, or DRR, aspects should be improved using the whole-of-society approach, which should also be adopted in all aspects of development, economy, education and health. He said this was because disaster management was a matter that involves all quarters, with communication, education and public awareness being the key elements that need to be implemented continuously to create a culture of shared responsibility, including for the DRR. Well, apart from that, he said local authorities should always play their role, such as ensuring that all monsoon drains in the urban and suburban areas are in good condition and not clogged so as to avoid flash floods. As the chairman of the National Disaster Management Committee, the Premier said he will hold meetings with all Menteri Besar, chief ministers, state secretaries and other state representatives to come out with comprehensive long-term plans to overcome flood woes in the country. Well, meanwhile, Tengku Dato Sri Zafrul said the Northeast Monsoon 2021-22 flood disaster that hit the country in December last year has caused an estimated 4 billion to 8 billion ringgit reduction in the economic sector's production value. Well, he said although the disaster had a major impact on economic activities, particularly in the affected areas, the country's gross domestic product, or GDP, growth forecast remained between 3% and 4% for the whole of 2021. Well, the Finance Minister said the government had taken into account key indicators which showed encouraging signs of recovery.
Kini dengan sokongan rakyat yang terus patuh kepada SOP dan mengamalkan kawalan kendiri bersama-sama pendekatan senegara melalui PPN dan PICK, alhamdulillah kita dapat lihat sinar yang nyata ke arah landasan pemulihan ekonomi yang kukuh pada tahun ini.
Well, he said the recovery momentum is expected to continue throughout the year, with the economy expected to continue to grow between 5.5% and 6.5%, in line with the projections of the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank. Well, over 125 million ringgit has been channeled to the states affected by floods to coordinate the disbursement of the Compassionate Cash Aid, or BWI, and BWI death assistance to heads of households, or KIR. Well, Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said since 27 December until now, 75,000 KIR had received BWI payments of 1,000 ringgit with disbursements totaling 75,000 ringgit. Well, speaking at a special parliamentary sitting today, he said 45,000 households affected by the floods had also benefited from electricity bill exemption for the month of December 2021.
Alhamdulillah, setakat data terkini yang diperolehi, voucher diskaun pembelian peralatan elektrik telah memanfaatkan kira-kira 5,100 KIR dengan nilai keseluruhan voucher digunakan berjumlah hampir 2.5 juta ringgit.
Well, he said the government had identified 439 KIRs who were eligible to receive cash assistance for minor home repairs and up to 5,000 ringgit due to the northeast monsoon floods in December. Meanwhile, funds accumulated through government-linked investment companies, or GLICs, and government-linked companies, GLCs, through the GLIC-GLC Disaster Response Network, or GDRN, has reached almost 140 million ringgit. So far, he said GDRN had helped about 71,000 flood victims. Adding among the assistance provided includes the distribution of hard-packed food, basic necessities, hygiene kits, cleaning work, cash, medicines, and more. Well, the government is looking into possible formation of National Disaster Management Council, also known as NADMA, at the state and district levels. So, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Special Functions, Dr. Abdul Latif Ahmad, said this was in line with the Cabinet decision on 22nd December last year to review the current structure of NADMA to strengthen its role as the country's disaster management agency. Well, he said NADMA was also in the midst of drafting a disaster management bill, which, among others, will cover aspects of governance, enforcement, preparedness, DRR, response, rehabilitation, and redevelopment.
Saya sedia untuk menerima cadangan-cadangan daripada ahli-ahli yang berhormat bagi memastikan sama ada NADMA yang asalnya disusun atur ditambah baik kurang daripada tiap kali kita berhadapan dengan bencana. Semoga dengan berakhirnya persidangan ini nanti kita akan dapat memberi satu solution, mungkin NADMA 2.0.
Well, over 300 billion ringgit is needed for the proposed long-term solutions to flood problems nationwide, which will be implemented in phases until the year 2100. Environment and Water Minister Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man said this included projects to develop water infrastructures such as flood mitigation systems, construction of embankments, as well as prevention of coastal erosion.
Kasar percaya melalui cadangan penyelesaian segera, jangka pendek dan jangka panjang, impak fenomena banjir dari segi kemusnahan harta benda maupun kehilangan nyawa setidak-tidaknya dapat kita minimumkan. Kejayaan pelaksanaan penyelesaian ini bergantung kepada kerjasama semua pihak, sama ada agensi kerajaan persekutuan, kerajaan negeri, pihak berkuasa tempatan, NGO, masyarakat dan seluruhnya.
In facing future challenges, Dr. Sri Tuan Ibrahim said the ministry was also open to learning the experience of other countries in flood management. For example, he said the Netherlands had offered to send the Dutch Risk Reduction DRR team to Malaysia to assess the impact of floods in the country and propose appropriate solutions. Coming up next, MOE investigates claims of dismal RMT food provision. Well, the Monetary Policy Committee of Bank Negara Malaysia has kept the overnight policy rate, or OPR, unchanged at 1.75% on the view that the global economy continues to recover, supported by manufacturing and trade activity. Now, the central bank said labour market conditions have also improved in many countries, although several countries reintroduced measures to curb ongoing COVID-19 resurgences, causing some moderation in the pace of recovery in domestic activity, especially services. So in a statement today, the central bank said inflation remains elevated in a number of countries, driven by both supply and demand factors. It said going forward, continued progress in vaccination coverage, advancements in vaccine efficacy, and the availability of antiviral treatments will allow for better management of the pandemic, hence supporting global growth prospects. Now, the key interest rate has been kept at 1.75 since July 2020, the lowest on record since 2004. Now, BNM said the latest high-frequency indicators show that local economic activity rebounded in the fourth quarter, in line with a relaxation of containment measures. It expects the growth for 2021 would be within the projected range of 3% and 4%. The Education Ministry is conducting investigations into a claim which went viral on social media of only white rice with gravy served for students under the Supplementary Food Program, or RMT. Well, Senior Education Minister Dr. Rasmi Jidin said he had also instructed that the schools involved be identified. Well, in a Facebook post, Dr. Rasmi said the ministry will not compromise in matters pertaining to the welfare of students. Yesterday, it was viral on the social media of a Facebook posting with a picture on a claim that only white rice and gravy was served for students under the RMT program. So the Facebook account holder also questioned whether the RMT allocation was too little, that the canteen operator had to provide such food to school children. Well, the Health Ministry announced today that parents may apply for COVID-19 vaccination appointments for their children aged between 5 and 11 through the MySejahtera application beginning 31st January. Well, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said parents may register their children as their dependents, with registration priorities given to those residing in Klang Valley.
Pelancaran program pemberian vaksinasi kanak-kanak usia 5 hingga 12 tahun akan diadakan pada 3 Februari 2022 di Hospital Tunku Azizah, Kuala Lumpur. Ini adalah suntikan yang pertama. Manakala bagi mereka yang ingin memberi vaksin kepada kanak-kanak mereka, sistem tempahan janji temu melalui MySejahtera akan mula dibuka pada penghujung Januari 2022. Sebagai permulaan, ibu bapa boleh mula mendaftarkan anak sebagai tanggungan dalam aplikasi MySejahtera.
Explaining further, the minister said the children will be jabbed with 1/3 of the normal dose given to adults, and the interval between the first and second jab is set for 8 weeks. Well, MySejahtera operator has blocked the health status of individuals suspected of receiving fake vaccine certificates from a clinic in Marang, Terengganu. Now, this was done after police have seized about 1,900 documents in a raid recently, and of that, 1,233 individuals were found to have skipped the vaccination process. Well, Terengganu Police Chief Dato' Rohaimi Ahmad Isa said all details on these individuals have been sent to the vendor to have their MySejahtera status updated. Well, previously, 23 customers of a private clinic in Marang went forward to lodge a report that their MySejahtera were updated with vaccinated status, despite them having not received any vaccine jab. Well, Dato' Rohaimi said the authorities are waiting for further instruction from the Attorney General's chambers to be taken against 7 individuals, including a 51-year-old doctor believed to be involved with the fake vaccine syndicate. Well, Plus Malaysia Berhad Plus has been instructed to maintain smart tag and touch and go lanes apart from the implementation of radio frequency identification or RFID across its highway. Now, the Malaysian Highway Authority LLM said in a statement the 43 smart tag lanes will be reopened in stages at 34 toll plazas to ensure smooth traffic flow. Now, Plus was also ordered to place more personnel on the ground with scanning devices to assist with drivers having trouble passing through the RFID toll lanes. While Plus has been told to ensure the performance of the RFID system to be improved to avoid congestion at toll plazas and to add on more RFID fitment centers along Plus Highway. Well, the ASEAN Tourism Forum, or ATF 2022, has recognized and awarded 14 tourism businesses and stakeholders in Malaysia for ASEAN Tourism Standard Awards. Now, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, in a statement today said they were the awardees in 4 categories, namely the ASEAN Green Hotel Award, ASEAN Clean Tourist City Award, ASEAN MICE Venue Award for Meeting Room, and ASEAN Sustainable Tourism Award. Now, the ATF 2022, held in Sihanoukville, Cambodia, recognizes and honors outstanding ASEAN tourism businesses and destinations that comply with the ASEAN tourism standards. Malaysia was represented by MOTAC's Secretary General, Dr. Nur Zari Hamad. MOTAC said the Habitat Penang Hill in Pulau Pinang and Walai Penyu Conservation Park, Libaran in Sabah were named for the ASEAN Sustainable Tourism Standard 2022-23 under the urban and rural categories, respectively. Pulau Pinang City Council, Muar Municipal Council and Langkawi Municipal Council Tourism City were listed for the ASEAN Clean Tourist City Standard 22-24 category. MOTAC said the 10 ASEAN member countries have deemed tourism service standardization essential for improving the quality of tourism products and services and promoting responsible management among tourism businesses and stakeholders in the region. Well, we begin with updates on the latest developments which unfolded in the local badminton scene. That's Lee Zijia's resignation from the Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM. Well, former world number 1 Rosalind Hashim is of the opinion that all parties should give Zijia a chance and respect his decision on his own career path. So according to Rosalind, only the 2021 All England champion himself knows how to improve his performance and as such has made the decision to move solo. Well, Rosalind added that even though Zijia will face many obstacles in his future in terms of training facilities and sparring partners, he believes that 24-year-old Kedahan will find a way to reach his peak potential. Rosalind also said it is difficult to predict who might be a suitable coach for Zijia, but the names of Singapore head coach Mulyo Handoyo and former national player Ong Wee Hock are among the hotly discussed candidates. Furthermore, there have been also speculations that Zijia will join Danish star Victor Axelsen as a sparring partner and train with him in Dubai.
Ini yang menjadi satu halangan lah sebenarnya kepada pemain-pemain yang keluar daripada badan induk untuk bergerak secara profesional. Terutamanya kalau kita tengok macam sekarang ni, macam Lee Zijia, siapa sparring dia nanti. Untuk dapat sparring tu mungkin boleh dapatkan beberapa orang, tetapi quality.
Well, meanwhile, on a related matter, Rosalind Hashim also questioned the integrity of BAM following the increasing trend of national players leaving the organization. Well, he said that if the trend previously had only affected their lower-ranked players, now it seems that it has spread to their main players. So Rosalind added that there is a possibility that Zijia would not pay reparation to BAM, as some players such as Goh Jin Wei also previously made the decision to leave without paying.
Kita tahu Lee Zijia ni siapa. Kan, persoalangan utama negara. Dia bukan persoalan yang kelima ke enam negara. Kan, dan juga akhir-akhir ni beberapa bulan sebelum ni pun dah ada beberapa pemain yang keluar. kan. Seperti Chiam Jung Wei, Go Jin Wei, dan juga Tan Kiam Meng. Sorry to say, benda ni dah lama berlaku dalam BM sebenarnya. Kepincangan mungkin dari segi pengurusan kan. Di dalam BM ada masalah lah maksudnya.
Well, the person appointed to be the next head coach of Harimau Malaya and replacement of Tan Cheng Ho will be revealed in a Football Association of Malaysia FAM media conference tomorrow. Well, furthermore, FAM President Dato' Hamidin Mohamad Amin will also elaborate on the post-mortem regarding the Harimau Malaya's lackluster performance in the 2020 AFF Cup. Well, previously, the main candidates to fill in the hot seat remained a mystery after Cheng Ho took it upon himself to resign after Malaysia's disappointing run in the 2020 AFF Cup held in Singapore. Well, several names have been speculated with the media, even predicting that FAM may turn to the expertise of foreign coaches. And among the names heatedly discussed is South Korean coach Kim Pan-gon, a 52-year-old with vast experience in the Asian coaching arena, where he once guided the Hong Kong national squad. Another South Korean, Kim Ha-bun, is also likely candidate as he guided the South Korean national under-23 squad to victory 2 years ago. Well, aside that, two coaches who are no strangers in the Malaysian football scene, Bojan Hodak and Brad Maloney, may also fill in the spot. However, FAM chooses, or whoever FAM chooses, Malaysians will finally know in the media conference with Dato' Hamidin in Petaling Jaya tomorrow evening.
Why do we tell you stories?
Relevant,
New,
efficient,
accurate.
reliable. We bring you extraordinary stories from around the world, from politicians, bankers, and even your favorite celebrities. This and many more on RTM's English News.
And that's all for today's News at 10. Our headlines for today. Relevant parties urge to expedite flood warning system development. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.